So in Dragon's Dogma 2, the biggest thing that probably any casual is going to be asking is, how do I level up? What's the best ways? Is there any cheats? Is there any glitches? And to be honest, when it comes to a game like this, I understand maybe wanting to make it a little bit quicker on, say, the second, third vocation, because is that goblins up there? If you obviously want to, say, do an archer to start with, maybe you've got it to max level, you're quite happy with the level you're at, and then you want to try something different out, then I think it's fair enough to say that maybe you didn't really want to stay at level 1 again and kind of completely start again, which is more than fine. And I think in terms of an actual way to level up quickly, it is, it is by, oh my god. It's not by fighting him. Are you looking for gift cards, game keys and more? Head over to U7Buy for a variety of cards you can get today. From PSN, Steam, all the way to Xbox. With huge amounts of price variations. Check the link in the description for cheap, reliable digital cards for you right now. So where were we? We were going this way and avoiding them horns. So in terms of kind of different ways that you could level up quickly, there's a specific way that I've personally seen quite a lot of, and that is kind of finding a route. So what I mean by that is, for instance, everybody at least is going to be here in Vernworth very early on in the game. It is a very early kind of capital that you go to. You start off up here in the, is it the Border Watch? Border Watch. You then head down to Melve, and then I'm assuming you go this way. I actually don't know which way you go, because technically none of this map connects other than this little bit, which I actually don't know why. But in terms of what you could do from there, and a perfect route that I've seen is by starting off here. And the main reason for this, whilst I just go over it, because I'll talk about it whilst you've seen the route, and you kind of follow this sort of path round here, and then you kind of come up the top here, and then you come back around. Mainly what you want to be trying to do in terms of a route from what I've seen and what I've kind of experienced is you want something that is going to take almost the daytime. So when doing routes, you want to be making sure that you start off in the morning, because naturally that's going to be the best time, because at night time, I actually don't know. I don't know if it's rumors or you actually have this, but enemies have a higher health level. Again, that for me is just at the minute speculation. I'm not too sure if that is true. But when it comes to nighttime, it's just easier in the day. Okay, we got something over here now. Have we only got 2 pawns again? So when it comes to the routes themselves, naturally you want to make sure that you are obviously starting off at night, as it is just easier in general for gameplay. You can obviously see a little bit better, and it is just an overall better experience. You're probably coming up against more familiar monsters than what you are before. So that is kind of like the general rule of any sort of routes. And then what you want to be trying to do is just basically going around as quick as possible, because obviously when it comes to routes, you can go ahead and then skip a few days, and what you'll find is that there will be more spawns. So for instance, when you come around this way again, if I was to leave it a couple of days, come back again, I can just naturally just go into basically any sort of bed and just do it that way. Well, what is he doing up there? So basically when I then come back, it will all be spawned again. So what that basically does is just gives you another route that you can do. He's gonna jump at me. Where is my... Go on, hit him from the back. Thank you. So when you obviously come and do it again, you will then have another route that you can do. Why do I feel like there's something big behind me? There's not. So then obviously when you come and do it again, you will then have another route again. So you'll just basically be farming the same thing every time. But what you can do is kind of get this down to an absolute T. And that is the basic premise of getting XP. Does he want a high five? Oh, maybe not now. And that is the basics of doing a route, because you don't necessarily just stand there and get XP. You have to do stuff. You have to kill stuff. You have to obviously adventure. Some quests will give you some more, anything like that. That is the whole point of the game. It isn't just almost like a Starfield where you build an outpost and you get XP based on stuff. It isn't about that, and that's not something that you will do anyway. So that is kind of just something you'll naturally do as you progress through the game. So when you are trying to farm and kind of go around, there might be better stuff as you kind of go a bit further into the game. There might be just more monsters in a collective. And to be honest, the way that you obviously are leveling up, you should then find you are either killing stuff quickly, you're learning more about the game, and using your kind of surroundings as well against you as such. But then there's the also argument of smaller monsters and then bigger monsters, because that is obviously going to have a bigger factor on what's better. Do you kill a troll a lot quicker than you kill a goblin? And it's very unlikely, but you could. Or then do you prefer killing griffins? There is certain specific things that you can do better. That's just down to your vocation and just naturally how you play in the game. If you've learned and killed a lot of trolls, you know full well the head is going to be quite weak. When it comes to the griffin, I want to say it's the wings, but I'm actually not too sure fully. I haven't really gone against too many of them. And then as you progress, you'll have the bigger monsters and all of that. And that is kind of the way. Once you've then finished your farming route, then what you want to do is come back and you then either rest yourselves depending on how much you've been hit, and then also then you can rest yourself up and get the XP, the HP, sorry, back, and you can go again. So for instance, when it gets darker, that's why you have the perfect route to come back in the dark, rest yourself up, and go again in the morning. Sometimes you'll find that the big monsters take a few days to respawn. I believe they're like 2 to 3 days, depending on what level monster they actually are. Some have a cooldown on them, but then you'll also find that some just take a day. Goblins and kind of the minor monsters do tend to take a little bit less, so that is just something to bear in mind. So you could just go ahead, kill the big monster on the first run, and then the second and third run you are just going against the goblins and you're kind of leaving the big monsters. That predominantly is some of the best ways. It is playing the game naturally, and I think when it comes to actually just playing, it's the best way for it, to be honest. I don't think there's a good way to glitch the game as of yet, not that I've found anyway, and to be honest, I don't know if I'd even want to be fair, because when it comes to actually playing the game, I think that is the enjoyment of it. There isn't necessarily a reward for being the absolute top, because realistically, why would you need to? The top of the top is just a single player. If it was multiplayer, I could understand then everybody trying to get to level 100 quickly, or the first person to level 100. That's kind of fair enough, because that, to be honest, that's just every game in itself. But when it comes to a single player, I just don't think there's any worth in getting there any quicker than anybody else if you have to glitch it. Like I said, maybe the other vocations could be a decent kind of reason to, but at the moment, if you are still on your first vocation or you've just got into your advanced vocation, I would say just keep grinding and keep on farming.